Hello, this is S.K. Williams, and I would like to pose a question. It's a question I would like to do a longer video on, but 2019 has been a year that I haven't been able to fulfill many obligations, much less focus on creating a video that I desired, but haven't made any promises to anyone to actually make. So, for now, I'm going to ask a very short question that is provocative. And it's the type of question I always thought would be good when I start loading commentary to lead with. The type of question that I could do a short minute or two long video asking, and then having you think about, and then come back. But I realize that's more for larger channels, and my channel may never get big, but even if it does, it's not big now. Still, I've decided to pose the question, but with one caveat, as this is the first time I've ever done this. Just because I am asking a question does not mean that I'm calling into question in the way a lot of people do the thing that I am objecting to or raising the question about. For instance, let's say I ask, is free speech really worth defending, and should we really have free speech? I have made videos in the past defending free speech, so merely asking that question should not automatically mean that I don't believe in free speech. Of course, it could be that maybe, even though I've advocated free speech in the past, I've changed my mind for some reason, and I wish to explain why. But you shouldn't assume that I don't believe in free speech simply because I ask a question. With that said, I don't want to give a false impression, though. I'm not saying that if I pose a question, it means that I really do believe in the thing that I'm questioning, but I simply wish to address criticisms of it or concerns about it. For instance, if I were to bring up a question of whether or not we need free speech, that does not mean the video that would follow up upon that would invariably be a defense of free speech, but it also doesn't mean it will be a criticism of it. These videos are intended simply to provoke discussion, regardless of how I feel about the topic, but they are there to open the door, in a way that, if you watch the follow-up video that I will create on it, well, the follow-up will address the actual argument from my personal opinion. This just takes the emotion out of it, for example, so that we can approach it in a more civilized fashion. With all that said, what is it that I wished to address? And that will come now, in part 2. The question I would like to pose is something that is fundamental to the modern Western world. Secularism. Should we truly try and strive for a secular society in which there is separation of church and state, or where religion plays no role in governing society? It is accepted wisdom that we should, especially when we look back to history, where religious institutions once entwined with power were corrupted, or perhaps, if you're a militant atheist, showed their true colors and took away rights and freedoms. People not of that religion had no freedom at all. People were oppressed. People were not allowed to question the institution. Science was held back. We all know how horrible it was. All we have to do is look back at the Dark Ages, when the church ruled everything, and look at the modern world where Islamic governments deny freedoms, and we know that when religion is involved with government, it is always bad. This is why we should have a government that is not religious. We should have a secular government. Besides, amongst the greatest and most brilliant men to have ever lived, America's founding fathers created the model republic to which all modern world bows to, and that is the United States. Should I question the wisdom of Benjamin Franklin, of James Madison, of Thomas Jefferson? Shouldn't they know better? Surely these men are better and smarter than I. And of course they were pure of heart, with only the best of intentions. So why would I bring them into question, or question other political philosophers, such as Rousseau? Isn't a system of secularism better? The thing is, even if a secular government is a better form of government than one that involves religious ideas, the idea of secularism should still be examined for every generation to ensure that it is in fact the best, and to ensure that our understanding of secularism is itself the ideal that was being striven for, since secularism, as with all other ideas, has evolved over time. So I pose this question: is the modern secular ideal truly worth advocating for? And is it truly good? What's more, what exactly is the secular ideal? Is it like militant atheists say, and we should have no religion in society at all, and it should be eagerly abolished, or at best, if not abolished, if people should be allowed religious freedom, it should have no room in the public square, it should be purely practiced in the home and in the church with no public presence? Should we allow public displays of religion on private property, but not in public? Should we allow public display of religious things on public property, if sponsored by private individuals? Should the government allow some limited form of religious expression on public property, such as at holidays? Exactly how far is too far and how much is too much? What exactly do we mean by secular? And what exactly is the ideal government supposed to be in regards to secularism? I'm not talking about economic theories like capitalism and socialism. I'm not talking about democracy or the best form of government under democracy, parliamentarianism versus congressionalism, or the best system of voting, or whether the president should be picked through an electoral college or through popular vote. None of that. Just, what does it mean to have a secular government and a secular society? And what role does religion play in such a society? And what is religion? What is secularism? What gets to define these things? I'm not going to say much more. As I said, this quest is intended to be provocative, not to address the question. I shall address it later. Until then, thank you, God bless, and goodbye.